Welcome back to the High Value Man Conversation. This is an episode for all you high performers out there in the world that are struggling to get it all done in a day. I get a constant and consistent question from my coaching clients, from people that are inside the program or just reaching out on social media. Aaron, how do you get it done in a day? What does your morning, your afternoon, and your evening routine look like? What does your Google Calendar look like? How do you get it all done? And when you don't get it done, if you don't get it all done, how do you deal with that feeling of beating yourself up because the schedule just doesn't get done? And so I share this tool with everybody because the truth of the matter is, if you're a high performer, if you're someone out there being a high value man, if you're taking on big goals, big dreams, and a vision that is bigger than where you currently are, chances are you're not going to get it all done. You're just not. You're not going to get it all done in a day. And you got to be able to give yourself some grace. Even though the agenda items don't get done, the objective always gets done. So I want to talk to you on this special podcast about efficiency, effectiveness, and optimizing your life and schedule. And I want to share with you the two tools that I use to get my day done. I learned this tool in EOS. That is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. We had a gangster implementer, Brian Underhill, who came into the businesses back in the day, and he'd start the meeting by sharing with us all the agenda items that we had to get done on our focus days. We'd have these focus days about 4 times throughout the year. And these focus days were designed to give us clarity and traction inside of our business, apply new tools, work through issues inside the business as they came up, and implement the next quarter strategies. And so there's always there's a lot of things to do on the agenda. And he'd always start the meeting with this conversation talking about the agenda and the objective. And he said, guys, the agenda is the to-do list items. It is all the things that we got to get done in a day. The agenda includes the new tools that we're going to apply this quarter. The agenda includes all the old IDS, that's the identify, discuss, and solve issues from the previous quarter. The agenda includes some of the icebreakers that we're going to do. The agenda includes some of the tough conversations we have to have, rebuilding the accountability charts, all these things that have to get done. And there's only so many hours in the day. He said, but the objective is far more important than the agenda. And we're always going to be objective driven. And so as long as we hit the objective for the day, which is going to be the number one most important thing on the agenda, and the number one objective of every single focus day is to make sure the leadership team comes together, connects, and has a clear picture moving forward. The objective outweighs the agenda. And if the things on the to-do list don't get done, it doesn't mean you can't make the objective happen. And when I heard this, it gave me permission to look at my schedule and my day very much the same way. My agenda, that's my calendar invites. That's my calendar items. That's my task list. That's my to-do items. Those are all the things I got to get done in the day. But my objective for the different parts in the day should be focused on how I want to feel, how I want to show up, and the intentionality behind why I'm doing it. So when I had that realization, I started breaking my day up into 3 particular segments. And I'd love to share these with you because I found this is a really good tool for us high performers in the world to separate all of our doing from our being. Because if we categorize our worth, how we feel about ourselves, our confidence, our ability to look in the mirror and say, I'm proud of that man, completely based on our production and our agenda items, more often than not, you're going to face a lot of days feeling bad about yourself because, again, no matter what you're going after, there's just not enough minutes in the day to get all of your things done. You probably felt this before. Man, I'm going to bed. I'm beating myself up. I'm exhausted. I got a whole task list of things I got to do tomorrow. I just feel like I'm constantly behind the 8 ball. I'm struggling. I'm white knuckling. And next thing you know, you are now in the seat of beating yourself up. You're being the critic rather than being the champion and the coach. And that creates even more problems because you got to be your biggest advocate as you're taking on these big challenges in life. And so I started shifting towards this idea of an agenda and an objective and changing my relationship with my to-do list and my calendar throughout the day. So I break my day up into 3 categories, into the AM, the afternoon, and the PM. These are three particular segments in the day that I have different missions and different objectives. In the AM, when I wake up, as soon as I wake up in the morning until about 9 a.m., 10 o'clock before I start taking my first client call, that's my morning time to get a whole bunch of stuff done. And so my agenda items look like I wake up before my alarm clock in a highly energized state. My feet hit the ground. I think of three things that I'm grateful for. Then I get into devotion, dedication, some journaling. I get some movement, some mindset. I drink my water. I'm making sure that I'm getting my exercise in with my dog. I have all these agenda items that are really important for me to get done. But more often than not, there's some days that I just don't have enough time to get them done. If I'm traveling, if I'm on the road, if I didn't get enough sleep the night before, I need to prioritize a little bit more sleep. And so the agenda items don't always get done. And there's been plenty of days in the past where when I look at all the things I wanted to get done for my perfect morning routine, to get them all done. The next thing I know, I'm going into my afternoon work feeling like I didn't get all my stuff done, which beats me up. And so I started to shift this idea of the agenda is the to-do list. In an ideal state, if I had 2.5 to 3 hours to do my perfect morning routine every single day, I would do all these things. But my objective in the morning, the reason why I do all those things, my objective in the morning is to connect with God and to connect with myself. When I created that clarity, I realized that I could meet my objective in sometimes just 10 minutes if I needed to. And as long as I built that relationship and had that awareness with myself, I could connect with God and connect with myself and say, you know what, we're going to invest a little bit more time tomorrow. But today we got to go into GSD. That's get shit done a little bit faster, a little bit quicker, because we got a really big segment in the day that needs to take our priority. And so it allows me the grace and the space to say that I'm not going to do all of my agenda items today, even though they're really important to me, but I'm going to focus on the objective, which is to connect with God and connect with myself. If I connect with God and connect with myself, I'm able to step into the second part of my day. Second part of my day typically starts between 9 and 10. As soon as I have my coaching calls, my client calls, my podcasts, the work that I need to do, sales calls, connecting with the rest of my team, creating content. 10 o'clock till typically about 5 throughout the day is my work hours. This is my GSD, my get shit done. And my schedule is filled. I'm talking about back-to-back calls, back-to-back team calls, checking in with my team, checking in with previous clients, current clients, writing content, podcasts, all the things that go inside of building a business. And you know this as an entrepreneur, you know this as a business owner, you know this as an employee, you know this as a man on earth trying to take on more things. You know, your middle of the day just gets taken up. And so sometimes that morning routine is the only time you really have to yourself. But the mid-afternoon, I think about all my agenda items that don't always get done. My main objective in the afternoon, in my work hours, in my GSD time is to lead, to be a leader in any situation or circumstance as it shows up. And a leader is present. A leader is patient. A leader makes decisions. A leader has clear vision. A leader is where he needs to be in that moment. And so when I think about that objective, it allows me to move from the situations on my calendar to the fires that might show up in my business, and they always do, to the relationships that might need immediate leadership and attention, to whatever is in front of me with the objective and focus that this is my window to lead. And I'm going to be present. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to give all I've got in that moment because that's what the moment needs. And this is the time of day during that block from 9 to 10 till about 5 o'clock. My only objective is to lead. And it doesn't always look the same. And in fact, it doesn't always match my agenda. You got to be flexible. You got to be agile. You got to be willing to roll with the punches. You know this in entrepreneurship and you know this in relationships. Sometimes the objective takes more priority over your agenda items. As men, we want to control everything. We want to control every single segment of the day. And so we get frustrated when the schedule doesn't go our way, when we're running late or backed up or someone doesn't respect our schedule on time. But if you go into your day recognizing that the mid-afternoon is your time to lead, that's the only objective you really need to hit. Whatever comes in front of you is an opportunity to do that. So your agenda and your objective separates the doing from the being. How do I want to show up in these different segments? As we approach the evening, the wind down time, this is 5 till typically 9 o'clock at night before I get in bed. My main objective, I'm going to go objective first instead of agenda. My main objective in this evening time is to relax, rejuvenate, and unwind. It is literally to take off my leadership hat, connect with my relationships that are meaningful, my lady, my dog, myself, and to relax my nervous system so I get a good night's sleep. I'm prioritizing a good, restful evening so that I can recharge, wake up in the morning, and do it all over again. And so the evening time is making sure that I'm clearing my inbox, clearing anything off my calendar that needs to be a big priority, stacking my to-do list for the next day, taking a little bit of time to brain dump so that I can really be present in the evening. So I'm not working up until 9:30 at night. I'm not on my computer answering emails very rarely. I'm not on social media scrolling. I'm taking the evening time to rest and relax so I can step into sleep, which is the number one recovery hack. If you're a high performer, you know one of the worst things that you can do for yourself is to go into the week unslept with poor sleep, poor self-care. Because that means you're putting out fires not only in the world and in your life, but also inside of your own mindset and body. And so getting a good night's sleep is an absolute priority. And so the evening time, my objective is to unwind, relax, be present, take as much off my plate as I can so that I can prioritize the number one recovery tool, which is sleep. And my agenda items will change. Most often, my agenda in the evening is to take all of the unfinished business from the day and stack it as a priority list for the next day. So I'm going into the next day with some intentionality. It's to get my food ready, to prep, to meal prep, do laundry, get the house tidied up and cleaned up. All those agenda items are just as important to transition into the evening. But the objective, because I know so many people that will do all the agenda items, all this stuff where their evening is running right up until the time they go to bed. They're doing the dishes, they're doing laundry, they're prioritizing other people's priorities, and they haven't taken any time for themselves. So they're unwinding, relaxing, cracking open a beer, watching TV, and they're getting restless sleep. They're not feeling recharged, and they're just waking up repeating this pattern of fatigue every single day. So these are my 3 segments in the day, and I look at through the lens of agenda and objective. Segment number 1, my AM time is all about connecting with God and connecting with myself. My agenda items, there's a long list of morning routine things I can share with you guys on another episode, but those morning routine items are all done by design to connect with myself and to connect with God. My mid-afternoon, this is my work time, my GSD, get shit done time. I have a ton of things on my calendar, my to-do list items, but my main objective during that block of time is to lead. So how can I show up as a leader in every single call, every single situation, every single fire, every single opportunity that comes up? My third block of the day, my evening wind down time. My objective is to wind down, rest, and relax so I can be well prepared for the battle the next day. And the agenda items in the evening, that's all the house stuff, all the things that we know we got to do to keep life moving forward. But the objective always has to win over the agenda. If you run your life by your agenda, you run your life by your calendar, if you run your life by your to-do list, you're going to be burnt out, exhausted, fatigued, and feel completely unfulfilled. Ask yourself this question: why do you do the things that you do? What is the objective you're looking to achieve by doing the things that you do? If you ask that question with that level of intentionality, you might be able to separate the doing from the being. Guys, if you found this episode helpful and useful, do me a big favor and share it with a friend that's got a busy calendar, whose Google Calendar runs their life, and they're stressed out, burnt out, overwhelmed, and exhausted. Share this tool about agenda and objective and see if it gives them a little bit of space. And if you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review. Share it with a friend. Go follow me on the YouTube, on Instagram, and all the podcast channels that you listen to this. And I'll see you on the next episode. Much love, many blessings. Boom.